I have a lot of great memories from playing Black Ops 2 Zombies from when I was a kid. The earliest memory I think I have of it was I think it was the summer vacation of the fifth grade, and my mom had recently started dating this guy, and we went over to his house for the weekend, and his son let me use his Xbox, which he would later give to me. And I believe the first map I ever played on Black Ops 2 Zombies was actually Bus Depot. Now, just to be clear, this was not the first time I had played Call of Duty Zombies. I had previously played Exo Zombies and Black Ops Zombies at my friend's house, so it wasn't completely foreign to Call of Duty Zombies. And somehow I managed to make it to round 22 on Bus Depot, something to this day I haven't been able to recreate. I remember I had the RPK and the hammer and monkey bombs. Again, I have no idea how I made it to round 22. That's, at least to me, that's quite an accomplishment on Bus Depot. And never been able to recreate it. But I mostly played on Town, because he didn't have any DLC packs. So of course I only had the base maps. I mean, Town, in my opinion, is the best of the base maps, even to this day. I mean, it has the Pack-a-Punch machine. It has the most perks out of any map uh, of the base packs. And there's a really great camping area by the double tap machine in that little alleyway there. You know what I'm talking about? Now, I was an absolute noob at Call of Duty Zombies. I think like the absolute highest round I could ever think to achieve was like round 22, even on Town. Because I was a noob, because I would just camp by the double tap machine. I'd usually last somewhere between round 16 to round 22, and I'm not going to deny it, I played on the easy difficulty because, because I was a noob. And I remember sometimes I would just randomly just swap out a good gun for another gun just because I just wanted a different gun. Like I'd have a Galil and then I'd get like the FAL or something and then I'd be like, ooh, that gun looks cool, and then I just swap it out and then I just swap it out again. And I wasted a lot of points that way. And one thing that I was really stupid at was that I would use like pistols to camp. Now, I'm not saying that pistols are bad. Pistols are overall pretty good in Call of Duty Zombies, but I would be like camping with like the Galil and the dual wield 5.7s. And those are not camping weapons, all right? If you're going to camp, you need to have like the Mark II and the hammer or the RPK or something like that. Like you don't camp with pistols. But I was a noob and that's the way I did it. Or maybe I would try to camp with the ray gun, which isn't the best decision because it kinda has splash damage, and when the zombies start to get close, you're probably gonna down yourself, which I did many a time. Every now and then I would play on farm or transit. I didn't like farm because there was no pack-a-punch machine, and I would usually camp in the Juggernog house, and I wasn't very good at farm. I might get to like round 10, and this was on the easy difficulty too. Like I was just an absolute noob. Transit, I couldn't even reach the double digits. I think like maybe one time I made it to round 12. I didn't know how to turn on the power, and to be honest, it is a little bit. The power is kind of in a random place. I mean, I remember getting off at the bus stop to the outhouse where you're supposed to buy the door and go to power, and I was like, oh, okay. There's an assault rifle on the wall, and that's it. Okay, this bus stop stinks. Let's hurry up, Ted. We got places to go. And I also remember arguing with one of my friends at school that Porter's Raygun X2, aka the Pack-a-Punch Raygun, was the Raygun Mark II, which is not at all true. And I remember I really wanted to get the DLC packs, but I didn't have money for it, and my mom wasn't going to let me buy them. So one of my friends had already moved on from the 360 to Xbox One, and I had a copy of Left 4 Dead 2. And I would like to clarify at this point, my mom's boyfriend's son had already given me his 360 and all of his games, include among them was Left 4 Dead 2. And my friend at school really wanted my copy of Left 4 Dead 2. And I knew that he owned all the DLC packs for Black Ops 2, so I said, hey, this is what I'll do. I'll give you Left 4 Dead 2 if you give me your account information for your Xbox account. And it took me a couple of weeks of trying to convince him, but he finally caved because he wanted Left 4 Dead 2 so bad. So he gave me his account information for to put his Xbox 360 account on my Xbox, and then I just download the DLC packs from there. And I don't remember exactly how it works. It was something like you have to make your Xbox the home console to that account. But since he'd already moved on to Xbox One, this didn't have any effect on his 360 account because he wasn't using it anymore. And because of that, I was able to use the DLC packs on my account. And I was so stoked when I finally got the DLCs. I think the first map I played was Nuketown, and I actually made it to round 2021. I think my first ever game. I had the LSAT and maybe the ray gun, I don't really remember. And the way the game ended, I made a really stupid decision. I had a choice between getting Juggernog and Pack-a-Punch, and this was on like round 20 something. I hadn't bought either of them yet. And I decided to go for Pack-a-Punch instead of Jug, which is one of the stupidest things you can ever do. And that's how my first ever game of Nuketown Zombies ended. Now, I think by this point, one of my friends had gotten Black Ops 2 and he had gotten the DLC pack for Origins, and I think I had played a time or two at his house, and we absolutely sucked at it. But on my Xbox, I was able to play it for the first time on single player, and yeah, I still sucked at it as well. It took me a few months to even be able to reach round 20. And I did have to go to the internet for some help, like how to turn on the Pack-a-Punch machine. You know, you got to turn on all the generators. I didn't know that at the time. If I remember correctly, the first time I did turn on the Pack-a-Punch machine, I had just happened to have turned on all the generators, and then I went to the Pack-a-Punch machine. I was like, oh, okay, it's on, cool. And then I would later go back on a different game, not knowing you had to have all the generators turned on. And I was like, wait, how do I turn on the Pack-a-Punch machine? And the Panzer scared the crap out of me. Not that he's like a scary design or anything. It's more of just like, if you're not ready for the Panzer, he will end your game. And I remember playing Die Rise. I never really liked Die Rise, so I didn't play it that much. I do remember getting Who's Who. It was on I was playing on online because I had like a 2-day Xbox Gold Pass or something. And I bought Who's Who just because, I mean, I knew what it did from watching the Smith Plays videos, and I knew it was pretty much a useless perk, but I just wanted to buy it just so I could say I'd bought it. And I played Buried quite a bit, because Buried it is a pretty easy map. I think my first ever mixed mystery box hit on Buried, I got the Time Bomb, believe it or not, and I wasn't really sure what it did. And I thought you were supposed to use the Time Bomb to clear Leroy's debris. And I remember throwing it on a pile of debris and activating it, and I was like, oh, okay, well, that does literally nothing. I would later figure out what the Time Bomb did, of course, but at the time I was like, oh, great, this is just useless. Thanks for nothing, game. And I remember one time, I don't know if my game was glitching or what happened, but I got PhD Flopper from the Ghost, not the permaperk PhD you get from from falling from a high. You know what I'm talking about, perma PhD. I got it from the Ghost. I got the little perk emblem on my screen, and I have no idea what I did, if it was just a glitch in my favor. That was, and I thought it was totally normal at the time. I'm like, oh, okay, the Ghost can give you PhD, and then I would later learn that they don't, but somehow I had PhD. And I really liked Mob of the Dead. I never could figure out how to pack a punch on it as a kid, and I wasn't very good at it in general. I do remember Electric Cherry. I was always really fascinated by Electric Cherry. and the Afterlife mode. And at the time, I didn't really understand the story of it. But I did like Mob of the Dead. I thought Brutus was a pretty cool boss. I really did enjoy the atmosphere of Mob of the Dead and all the zombie designs. And I don't know how many hundreds, if not thousands of hours I sunk into Black Ops 2 Zombies as a kid, just playing and playing and playing and playing. I love Black Ops 2 Zombies. I still do to this day. My second favorite game of all time. But that was just me wanting to share some good memories of the good old days of playing Black Ops 2 Zombies. And for anyone new here, I mostly play, review, and discuss zombie and horror games, so feel free to check out some of my other content if that sounds interesting. Always remember that Jesus loves you all very much. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments. Peace.